Hi, it's John Herlig from the Boat Galley, here today to talk to you about the Roam Marine Monitor Hub. And I'm the one who's here to talk to you about it because I have installed one on my boat. I have been a member of the Boat Galley team for, 8 or 9 years now. And I sort of represent the frugal cruiser part of the Boat Galley team. I sail on a 1967 Rawson 30 cutter-rigged sailboat. A boat that really boasts not a whole lot of fancy systems. And I'm separated from my boat right now. And when Carolyn told me that one of her sponsors was looking for a boat for a test run of a remote monitoring system, I quickly volunteered. So the folks over at Roam Devices sent me one of their monitors, which I have installed on my boat, Ave Del Mar, which is currently in Florida. And I'd like to walk you through pretty much the whole thing. And gosh, I can tell you even before I get into the details of it, every step of this was so much easier, so much faster, and so much simpler than I ever thought it could be. So some loose concepts first. The boat monitor system, or this one in particular, is one that installs into your boat, monitors vital systems, connects to a cell network to convey data, and then that data is sent up into the cloud and you retrieve it from an app on your phone. Fine. It comes with a relatively low price point. I believe out of the box it's right about $350 if you order it from roamdevices.com online. A couple of things about it really stood out to me. The first is that the price of monitoring on the system is like almost nothing. It is $60 a year. So it's $5 a month for the ongoing monitoring, or $60 a year. You pay it by the year. And that is what gets the SIM card activated in the device so that it can talk to the local cell network and transfer your data up into the cloud system. I was away from home visiting my boat. My boat is not where I live currently, and had a really narrow window in which to install this into my boat. It was on my last day in town, and I was heading out of town, was concerned about how long I had available for the installation and what if I ran into technical problems. Well, let me tell you, it was so seriously easy and so seriously fast and so easy to understand how the system works. So it comes in a relatively small box. In the brains of the unit are a little plastic box that's maybe about the size of an old computer modem, maybe 2.5 decks of cards sort of size. You pull this out of the box, screw an antenna onto the top, and then a GPS antenna input onto the top. And it has a couple of small brackets that will let you install it anywhere, on a bulkhead, on a shelf. You can put it horizontally, you can put it vertically. Mine is actually inside my battery locker because that way it's right close to the power, and was just as easy as could be to screw the brackets into the side and install this in. It comes with, I think I have this right, it's going to come with the GPS monitoring, a high water alarm, cabin temperature and humidity, and GPS location and battery voltage. There are a lot of additional monitors that can be added to this that can get you hatch monitors, remote temperature monitors, either for an engine room or for a refrigerator freezer, and additional monitoring systems that are not installed on my boat that mostly reflect that my boat has a pretty simple backbone and a pretty simple information system on board. The monitors just clip in via a little modular plug, sort of like an old telephone plug. When you have this in, you attach the battery power cables to the battery, and they plug right in. The unit powers up. It connects with the cellular network and lets you know that it's working. The GPS monitor is small, like a little Sirius or XM radio car antenna might have been for your car back in the day, and comes with a pretty lengthy small cable, small as in gauge size, so it's not thick. It's easy to get it around corners and through holes, but long enough that you can put the GPS antenna someplace where it gets a good read on the GPS satellite. So as this sits in my battery locker now, it is constantly monitoring both the temperature and humidity at the unit, the current state of charge of my battery bank from the battery bank directly. I have a high water switch, which is a literal float switch, which I got to install in my bilge that simply lets me know from afar that it hasn't been triggered, and GPS. And I'll go over how all of this information comes up in the app in a minute, because it's really surprisingly powerful and surprisingly, or at least it was to me, surprisingly good. I had no reason not to expect it to be good, but I was surprised at how sophisticated the systems were, at how well they work, and at how much I'm enjoying having this on my phone. And it's not costing me hundreds of dollars a year to keep it going, which I pretty much thought it would. So this is all installed in the boat, and I check it every day, numbers of times. And let's start with, for example, battery voltage, because one of the problems I'd had being away from my boat that was that in summer, when the boat got too hot, and my batteries are maintained by a couple of solar panels. I have 230 watts of solar. But my batteries, which are flooded lead cell batteries, my batteries ran dry and stopped charging. I wasn't there. The people that I had who would occasionally go check on my boat were away on deliveries when this happened. And just none of us had any idea that my batteries had run down. The batteries were incapable of being recharged as they had run dry, and my bilge was slowly filling up with water. As I open the app now, there's a home screen that shows all of the monitors that I have installed, which is fewer perhaps than a lot of people might. It shows me high water, which is a very yes-no binary. It either has triggered or it hasn't. It gives me cabin humidity, cabin temperature, GPS location, and a map, and battery voltage. So let's start with the battery voltage. What I love about this is not only does it tell you currently what your battery voltage is, and I'm looking at this during the day. I know that it's probably in the sunlight, so that's going to be trickle voltage if the batteries are full. And I'm sure they fill up every day very quickly because pretty much all they power is this device and an anchor light. But it also gives you that in graph form. You can look at the past day, the past week, the past month, or the past year. And what that gives you that is so fantastic is a quick visual reference where you can see your peak charges, which are always going to be like 14.4 or around in there for a traditional battery bank like mine. And then you can see every day when it drops down, when they get full, and it goes to trickle charge, and it sits there at about 13.4 until the sun sets and the batteries stabilize and equalize and go back to their charge rate of about 12.6. It would be so easy on this graph, especially if you punch that 1 month or 1 year button to get a longer data set, so easy to see if you had a low point on the charge that was trending down or substantially lower than it had been, and would give you cause to trigger an action to check to see what was going wrong. I also have an alarm set. All of these systems have alarms that can be set, and I have an alarm set on my batteries at 12.3 volts. So regardless what time of day, if they're on their way up or on their way down, if they are at or below 12.3 volts, I'm going to get an alarm, which will trigger an alert that goes to my phone. So even if I don't have the app open and on, I'm going to get that alert to let me know that something is wrong. So that battery voltage graph has so far been one of my probably 2 favorite things about the Roam device. The second one is the GPS location and map and anchor alarm that comes with it. Now, I don't have the anchor alarm turned on. My boat's been where she is for a while, but the GPS location shows what I call a breadcrumb history. So it has position dots, that populate on the map every time that it takes a reading, which I think is every 3 minutes or so. It's frequent. It's always telling you where your boat is. But again, on that map, what you can do is map out a 1 day, 7 day, or 1 month, or 1 year history of where your boat has been by virtue of its GPS location position. And it ends up forming a circle of dots, if you will, on some place that is tidal. So every 6 hours, my boat's flipping direction and going from the end of its road one way to the end of its road the other way, and has its swing radius, all of which it pretty much fills up. Well, instantly, as soon as you hit that thing to a week or a month, you can see that history of dots and see that your boat is well within it, and you know that you are staying inside your historical data set of locations, and immediately know that your boat has not dragged at anchor at all. I can open up this app and text one of my friends who lives close to where my boat is and say something like, "Oh, you guys are getting west winds today," because I'll see my boat on the GPS map way over at the east end of the anchor swing radius that I get to see. And I know if my boat's at the east end, the wind must be coming out of the west, and you can see all this. The anchor alarm you can actually set as you would any other traditional anchor alarm, and it has all of the offsets and adjustables that give you the ability to trigger an alarm that's going to let you know if your boat has in fact gone wandering. There are a couple of included sensors for bilge pumps, which I don't have installed on my boat, frankly, because I just ran out of time. They are not particularly difficult to install. I just happen to have been in a hurry that day, and I'm going to put them in the next time I go down. But those just hook right into the wiring that goes to your main bilge. And if that bilge triggers and its switch turns it on, then this monitoring wire system will notice the cycle of electricity, will record that as a pump activity event, and we'll put it also on your data set and on your graph. There are monitors that'll let you know if a hatch is open, if the humidity is high. You can check shore power, all kinds of things, like I said, not all of which are pertinent on my boat. I think it will also tie right into more modern, more sophisticated battery monitoring systems, which I also do not have on my boat. But I'm getting the information that I need right from that battery voltage usage. So I have the app on my phone. Check it first thing in the morning, and I check it a couple of times during the day, and I check it after sunset to see if the batteries are where I expect them to be. So far, not only is all the news good, but the best news is just that I'm getting the data to begin with. And that $60 hit for an entire year felt like absolutely nothing compared to not knowing that your boat's filling up with water. So for the $349 that I think this thing costs off the shelf from roamdevices.com, to the $5 a month that it takes to keep it going, to the ease of installation, ease of understanding, and your ability to manipulate the data sets to get you what you need, I got to tell you, it's seriously for me a 10 out of 10. I absolutely love this device. I can't believe how complicated and expensive I assumed they were, and I am so happy that I have mine. So this is John Herlig again with the Boat Galley, reporting in on my Roam Marine Monitor Hub, and I hope anyone who gets one enjoys it.